In understanding racial stereotypes and their implications, we hope to provide the general idea of how this matter needs to be taken seriously and the changes required to make society a better place for people from different backgrounds. Racial stereotypes or ethnic stereotypes are a representation of a group of a certain ethnicity or race in a generalized manner, portraying all members to display certain typical characteristics. This racial stereotyping is often the root of many jokes. There is no denying the fact that these stereotypes are more often than not ingrained in our brains. They are generally a part of upbringing, something that we imbibe from our social environment. The biggest problem that arises out of this kind of stereotyping is that it creates prejudice, which can be the root cause of racial discrimination. Racial stereotypes are very popular in English-speaking countries where diverse cultural backgrounds coexist. Racism is still deeply rooted all over America. It is still deeply rooted in the North, and it's still deeply rooted in the South, said Martin Luther King Jr. in a 1967 speech. However, 53 years after King said those words, Americans say they still experience racial stereotypes in their daily lives. It remains in schools, offices, the court system, police departments, and everywhere else. The stereotype said that Black Americans were poor, lazy, ignorant, criminal, violent, and occasionally ardent adherents of Christianity. Meanwhile, East Asians are said to be poor drivers who hold up traffic or cause accidents. Moreover, it is said that Asian men have more self-esteem than women. Women are not allowed to go to school and cannot hold an important position in their society. In particular, during the coronavirus pandemic, Asian Americans face a wave of intense racism. Mix-up in the language of the COVID-19 pandemic has been repeated, including the use of the term Chinese virus, uttered by White House officials and most notably, President Donald Trump.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China.
And do you think using the term Chinese virus, that puts Asian Americans at risk, that people might target that?
No, not at all. I think they probably would agree with it 100%. It comes from China.
The educational system is one of the most unequal in the industrialized world, and students receive dramatically different learning opportunities based on their social status. Collectively, the 101 Black teens participating in the study reported more than 5,600 experiences of racial discrimination over 2 weeks, and Asian American teens are 3 times as likely to face bullying on the internet compared to other teens. They are skeptical of raising voices as well as complaining within professional settings for fear of being judged. Racial stereotypes are reported to cause inequality in job opportunities. In Hollywood, for example, people cast white men as heroes while erasing or subordinating other groups as villains, sidekicks, and sexual objects. Skin color is not the only standard in selecting candidates anymore, but accent is becoming the new classism or criteria to be considered in the hiring process. 3 top jobs in the UK are held by men who speak the Queen's English, but not those who have a regional accent. So as a result, people with a regional accent are not welcomed in a professional workplace, or they have to struggle to change their own accent to the standard one. Racial stereotypes even cause some social problems through the breakdown in the perception of people with different skin colors. The most salient example of this is in the United States, where there has been an influx of Hispanic immigrants, especially along the southern border. Many English-speaking residents resent the immigrants' failure to integrate, and this has resulted in discriminatory practices and widespread racism towards Hispanics. This, in turn, has caused many Hispanics to develop antipathy towards other residents and segregate themselves in homogeneous neighborhoods. To be able to dismantle racism in general and racial stereotypes in particular, one needs to draw certain lessons from what human history has gone through. The first and foremost lesson we get is that one should learn to recognize prejudice and examine how they perceive others. They should also reflect on how to be more respectful towards people around them. In doing so, a person will spend time and effort on getting to know other people instead of assuming their identity based on appearance or culture. Another lesson that needs to be learned here is when we face the history that has shaped our way of thinking. Learning and understanding history is a big part in preparing people to have difficult conversations regarding racial stereotypes or racism in general, and then acknowledge mistakes that have been made. From there on, we can create safe and respectful space and move beyond stereotypes and labels. Finally, racial stereotypes taught us when and how to speak up. They are formed from a history of mistreats, ignorance, and oppression. And now we know, just because something has existed in society for a long time does not mean it is right or moral. Changes can only be made when conventional constructs are challenged and novel voices are heard. One should not be afraid to speak up their mind, thus encouraging history to be reshaped.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.